Okay, so what was your vision for Truth Outreach?
So the vision for Truth Outreach was we wanted to do something in our hometown. So our very first event was the Feed the Homeless event, because we wanted to really reach the people. We didn't want to just take in things and keep it to ourselves. We want to make a difference. We're working. Stuff like that. But I'm looking at the crowd, and maybe we should go and just get down to some basics and just have a little talk. And I explained to you, and they're going to have many more meetings, which I'm going to attend, and we'll give the next phase of the investment thing. Because one of the things I believe is you don't want to start investing in stock if you don't have any investment in the house. So we'll do like that. I'd like to ask a couple questions before I get started. I got some stuff here that I'm going to use, my props. How many people have a budget that's written down at their house? Okay? It is an important thing to do, because without a budget, you're not really going to know where your money's going. And that's one of the things we want to talk about, especially for younger people. The other thing is, there's ways to have money and feel comfortable with money that, how should I say it? You don't have to be rich to feel comfortable. Most of our problems with money is that we're worried about getting something. One of the things in my house, when I was coming up, we were taught, is I can't afford it. And that was wrong. First of all, that's not in the Bible. Second of all, that's not God's word. If you want to use I can't afford it, you say I can't afford it yet. Right. Because if it's meant for you, it's coming. It's coming. I usually say amen at that time, but we'll deal with that. Okay. Here's some things I want to talk about. One of the mantras that we can use to say, and if we believe it, we can achieve it. One of the things is, I will do today what others won't, so I can live tomorrow like others can. There is no use working 30 years, 40 years, retiring, and you can't make ends meet. So there's some tricks that we're going to go over on the basics that you can do. Now I'll ask you another question. Have you ever you got a paycheck and say, I'd like to do anything I want with this check? Just one time I'd like to do that. Well, yes. Tonight we're going to teach you how to do that. Okay. If you took a check, when you got your check, you took 10% and you just lived on the 90%. So let's say you got a check for, and I'm just using round figures, $100. If you lived on that $90 and saved that $10, on the 10th time, not only would you have that check in your hand, you'd have the other check you just got paid. So that's so simple. We say, well, why aren't people doing it? It is discipline. In my house when I grew up, we knew about that. And we could do it 2 or 3 times. And then we got to dip into that cookie jar. It takes discipline to get where you want to go. That's right. Okay?
So you being a local artist and coming to an event like this, what made you come to this event?
Me personally, my wife, support family. And it's a movement that's going on that is really needed. And you already know we can say religion, but spirituality is the connection to all of us, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So we got to come together, church, the streets, atheists, all different organizations for the betterment of each other. You understand what I'm saying? Because we can't wait for nobody to come from out the sky. We got to be the one to make the move right now as we speak. But I have a great grandma I've been waiting on, and she gone. I got a grandma, she just passed, she gone. We got to make the move, and we keep waiting on somebody to push us to do something. It ain't gonna never happen. We got to be the one to step up for each other. You know what I mean?
$80,000.
but he can't live off of $20,000. And the question to you is why?
Expenditures.
No budget is one, that is correct. But what else?
No discipline.
There you go. But what else? Anybody see anything else? Why you can't live? If you make $100,000
Let
and
me
all
see.
your expenses add up to only 80, why can't you make it?
Because he doesn't know how to manage the 20,000, and maybe his expenses are a little too high.
Yeah, he's living.
He's living above his
Yeah.
means.
Living above the
Yeah.
means.
All of those are great. But here's the deal. Right? Here's the deal. When you talk to somebody, especially if you're talking about what they make or they're trying to brag to you, oh, I make 100,000. Guess what you take home? 62,000. If you take home 62,000, the math becomes clear and you're spending 80, you're not going to make it.
Right, that's true.
We need to get into a mindset that we don't say, hey, this is what I make. We need to deal with what we live on. You know, it don't matter if you make a...
To following God's word. We were established on May 20th, 2019, and our focus mostly is on doing what Christians are supposed to do in the community. We go outside the four walls of the church to meet the needs of God's children. This year alone, we had 3 Feed the Homeless events. We also gave away about 300 book bags and supplies and over 90 canned goods to the Bahamas hurricane relief. So we want to give your hands, give a round of applause for that. Because those things are not easy when we're asking of people and trying to get things to, support people who are in need. And sometimes it's strenuous, but we kept God first, and that's why we was kept on doing what we were doing. Tonight, I want to gladly thank you guys for coming out, because tonight marks our first fundraiser in Miami Branch. So give yourself a round of applause for that, for being a part of making history with Truth Outreach. And we thank you guys for coming out. You guys have a nice night.
It's going to be very long because Brother Chapman and I are in the same field. We're in financial services, and he did a swell job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you ever been to church and the pastor gets your attention?
Yes.
I just sat up in my seat and listened to him, because it's the same principles that we believe in. See, we are a people that have power. Don't you agree? Yep. We have a lot of power. Yes. Wrong or right? Yes. And if we just come together and use it positively, we can achieve anything we want. But the strangest thing is that America is the land of opportunity. We all agree. And a lot of people come here with different accents. You know, I'm from the real South, Jamaica. That's the deep South, right? Yeah. But we come here for the opportunity, don't we? But yet, statistically, we're not doing too well, especially people in our community. We're not doing well. We're not focused on the right things, you know. And in the financial business, you know, I have a couple of stats here. Brother Chapman, he revealed a bunch of them, and they're so impactful. You with me? If you look at the sad situation today, nearly half of all Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That is sad. And I mean, he had it right there. We have to pay ourselves first. Wrong or right? I mean, brother, you did such a good job. I'm so proud of you. And we need more people like this in our communities. Because statistically, we're not doing very well. More than half of all Americans have less than $25,000 in savings and investments. Yet, we work years and years and years putting in our hours into these companies that get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier, and we have nothing to show for it. You see, there are basically 2 reasons why we end up amongst these stats. Just 2. It's how we choose to make our money and what we do with our money when we make it. And if we can address those two, we have to teach, especially the young ones, to think business. Think business. I went to a funeral a couple of years ago, and this gentleman, he has 3 daughters. And the eldest daughter got up and she did the eulogy. And you know what she said? She said, from we were little kids, our dad taught us that we can't work for anybody, for someone, and get wealthy.
That's right.
And you know what happened? Those 3 girls are doctors with their own practice. Isn't that awesome? What are we instilling in our children? To come up the same route and have the same disappointments? We have to change up. So basically, Brother Chapman, he's, you know, we're in the community teaching our folks that we have to teach the young ones, especially to build wealth. Think wealth building. We tired of marching. Huh?
Yes.
Don't you believe it's time to end the marching?
It's time to act.
It's time to end the marching. You know why we have to march? And when something goes wrong, we march. And guess what? 3 weeks after that, we forget it.
Right.
It's forgotten. You know why? Because we don't own anything.
Right.
We don't own the media houses. So it gets shoved away. I'm telling you, you know, I mean, we own BET, but it was sold. You know that BET was sold to, what is it, Viacom?
The white boy.
We don't own anything. So unless we change the mindset of ownership, we're not going to get anywhere. So basically, what we're seeking is to have more people in our community that can go out and spread the message. It's not difficult to get an investment license. It's not difficult. Nothing is difficult if you're prepared. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't. But if we don't do it, other people are going to come into our community, set us up, right? Take the money out of the community, and then we wonder what's going on.
Different communities, and we do different things to support it. And some people do it because they're trying to get a good evaluation. Well, I'm stationed over in Cocoa Beach, Patrick Air Force Base, and I was really close to home. And I was like, this is probably going to be the closest that I ever get to home. And now is the time to make a difference in my hometown. And so it started off as just a Facebook post. I said, hey, I want to feed some people down in Miami. Anybody that's interested, shoot me a message. And wow, the power of social media. We raised $150 that day. And then people started inboxing me. A lot of them became my staff, the staff that we have. And so we got 8 people that's on our admin team. And we started doing video chats, different chat rooms. And one person said, how about there's a lot of homeless women out there. We need to get them some feminine products for the homeless women. So then someone else came on board and said, well, there's homeless women and homeless men out there. So we should do unisex products. And so we got 50 care packages. Somebody came and they donated 50 care packages to us. So the weekend that we go down there to Miami, come down here to Miami rather, and we go to Jackson Memorial Hospital, or the hospital that I was born at, right? And probably a lot of us in here was born at as well. And Puerto Tropical is having a sale for $5, a full meal. And so we buy the meals, and then they give us the drinks for free. And we go outside and we try to find people, and we don't even have to travel that far. We go 1 block away, and there's homeless people like everywhere. We go about 3-4 cars, and we jump out. And the moment that we jump out, they start swarming us from every direction. Within 10 minutes, we literally run out of food in 10 minutes. And then we thinking that we're gonna leave, and then they realize that we still have care packages, and they like, hey, can we get some deodorants? Can we get some toothpaste and toothbrushes? And we're like, yeah, everything we have, y'all can have. And so I go back home, and we all excited. We all talking about it, and we post pictures out there and say, hey, this is what we did. Then we get even more support from people saying, we didn't realize that it was going to be that weekend that y'all was going to do it. What could we do to keep it going? And so a couple of people go and they go to their jobs and they put up signs saying, hey, we're trying to get things for the Feed the Homeless. And next thing you know, it spiraled out of control in a good way to where the group of us get together and say, hey, we need to make this a nonprofit organization. And so since the month of May, we've been doing this, and this is only September. For those that are watching on video, this is only September. But in the first couple of months, we have did a lot of tremendous things. We did 3 Feed the Homeless events. We did 300 book bags and school supplies at 2 different locations, Cocoa Beach, Florida, and Miami. And we also did 2 separate drives for the Bahama Relief organization, where members in Miami gave stuff to the Bahama Relief, and then members in Cocoa Beach also gave. One of the interesting things is that when I was up in Cocoa Beach, sometimes you don't recognize things till somebody points something out to you. And it was streets where I constantly drove down, and there was a bunch of forest. And if you're driving in the car, all you just see is trees. Well, at my cocoa banquet, at the cocoa banquet that we had, one member said, I feed the homeless all the time. And it was like, y'all interested in Feed the Homeless? Let me take you out to where they at. And so he took me to a familiar street, and I'm like, I never seen homeless people down here. And then we stopped in the middle of the street, and in the middle of the street, between the forest, there's a small opening. And up and down these streets, there's a bunch of small openings. And in these small openings, there's homeless camps of people who are homeless. And so just so happened that one day I'm off, and someone reached out to me and said, hey, I got a bunch of food that's going bad by the end of the month. Can you give this away? Sure, I'm off. I got nothing else to do. Well, I do got things to do, but I decided to do it. And while I'm out there, I meet a guy, and he's talking, and he's telling me about his son, and he's telling me about his family, and I'm thinking that he's drunk, right? But I'm entertaining him, trying to help him see what it is that we can do. And so I say, well, what's your son name? Let me take a picture of you. Let me contact your son, put it on social media, and let me take a picture of you and reach out to your son. And he said, I'll tell you what, I'll do something better. Pull out your camera, do a video of me, and then I'm going to give you his phone number. And I'm like, who remember phone numbers these days? Right? So I'm thinking he's drunk, like all get out drunk. And so I do it anyway, and my crew that's with me like, hey Tim, we gotta go. You know, we got other people that we need to feed. And I'm like, hold on, just let me do this one person. So I send a message, do the video, send a message out to the phone number that he gave me. And then I'm like, all right, brother, hey, if somebody contact me next time I come through, I'll make sure that I'll reach out to you and let you know what happened. Well, as I begin to walk away, the phone started having 3 dots saying that somebody is texting back. And I turn around and say, hey, wait, don't go nowhere. Somebody's texting back. Let's see what comes up. So 5 minutes later, a text comes back and it says, hey, this is my father on this video. Who are you? And so then I realized that he got an iPhone, and so I push the button and I FaceTime him. And when I FaceTime him, I'm speaking to a young man, and he say, hey, my birthday is Tuesday, and for months I couldn't find my father, and all I wanted to do for my birthday is to talk to my father. Oh my gosh. And so I turn around and say, well, I'll tell you what, brother, your father is right here. And so I pass the phone to him, and I let him talk for 10 more minutes, and they do FaceTime. And the father, he got proud about himself, so he's lying to his son about where he at and what he's doing. And the ironic part is 1 block away downtown, there's people who are having a party. And on the other block, there's nothing but homeless people. Right? And so after they finished talking, me and the crew, we ended up leaving. It got dark after a while, and so we ended up leaving. But we went in there for one thing and came out with something totally different. You know. And so my message today is that God has chosen you to make a difference. And what I love about this organization is that we're not a church. And so I'm not soliciting for people to become members of my church and to do a building fund or anything of that nature. The root of this is we are here to make a difference and do what God has called us to do. whichever way that is. And one of the things about it is that everyone in my crew understand that things don't always happen the way that we envisioned it the first time. And just like the walls of Jericho, they had to go around 7 times before it finally came down.
Okay.
I just want to say this event came out really, really nice, and I'm so proud of everyone. And I always start off small. I have a small business that started to grow, so it started off with just in my house to a building and continues to grow. So I want to give y'all a word of encouragement. Continue, don't stop, don't give up. Things get hard, just keep going, and going. The road is not easy, but if y'all combine together as a whole, you guys will be success. And I really enjoyed it. I am a business person, and what Mr. Chapman said, I really never realized about the 10%. So starting this paycheck, I'm putting away my 10%.
Yes.
And I was looking for investments, so now I know where to look. McDonald's.
Yeah.
Instead of buying coffee every morning, I'm gonna save that for investment.
Yes.
So everything was really nice.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Sharella. I just want to say I love what you guys are doing. It's amazing. I love to see this type of stuff. I have a few platforms that I stand on. I am a travel agent, Travels by Rella. I'm all over Facebook and Instagram. I travel a lot. I show people, I teach people how they can travel for less, how they can save, and how you can earn money as a travel agent. So I also have a platform called Rella Speaks, where I encourage people on this path a lot. I realize, like, in this day and time, I don't know, maybe we were brought up wrong. Not that we were brought up wrong, but I realize, like, the mindsets of the young people have to change. The mindset of some of the older people have to change. I see a lot of people stuck in the poverty level. I try to bring people out of that. I see a lot of beautiful young women walking around, and I try to encourage them to keep moving and keep pushing. So I'm all about encouraging, motivating, cultivating, and inspiring people. So this was an amazing event, and thank you guys for having me.
Woo, thank
Don't forget to join our Facebook group, because this week I will be going live more than once, because I really want to reach out to the people about the village. Our younger generation is something else, and I really want to go live this week and speak about a village, because I do believe that it takes the village to raise a child, and the Truth Outreach, we can be that village to make a difference. So please join my live this week, because God has been putting this on my heart since last week with all the killings and different stuff going on in our community and all the shootings. I really want to talk about the village. And thank you guys for coming.
you. Woo, awesome.